Hey there guys, so this time I'll be reviewing 4 books. The first is Isaac Asimov's Foundation Trilogy. Second is Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere Illustrated Edition. Then there's his Dark Materials Trilogy by Philip Pullman. And finally the Art of Neil Gaiman by Campbell. So let's start with this one. It's if you are into science fiction. I'm into science fiction. I love science fiction. It's one of my most favorite genres to read, alongside fantasy. So if you're in science fiction, you probably know Isaac Asimov. He's considered by some to be the father of modern science fiction, and his Foundation trilogy is by far one of the best science fiction stories ever written. So this is the trilogy, and it's by Everyman's Library. It's a very nice edition. It contains all 3 books of the Foundation series: Foundation, Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation. There is another book that's in the Foundation series called The Prelude to Foundation, but that was written after these 3 and is generally not considered to be a part of the series, but it's more like a prelude, and it comprises of the scientist who on whose theory the Foundation series is based, and his life. So as you can see, this book is very gorgeous. It's like one of those library books you usually see on the library shelves that no one has ever checked out. It's in red and has gilded lettering, gilded gold lettering, says the Foundation trilogy. And on the dust jacket it says there's something written, the introduction by Michael Dirda. It says, I don't think it's very visible. So Isaac Asimov's Foundation trilogy, a riveting saga of humanity's struggle against darkness played out on the grandest scale possible, is one of the cornerstones of modern science fiction. It's if you have not read for the Foundation series, I would definitely recommend you to read the Foundation series. The pages in this are very nice, thick, and does not really bleed through as such, unless you are really reading under the light. There are no illustrations on this because Foundation was not really written with illustrations, so I think they stayed true to the original prose and how it was written. So, and this the Everyone's Library logo at the very back. Pretty thick book. How many pages? Let me check the number of pages. There are 605 pages. Not very sure if that was visible. And says Isaac Asimov Foundation. There's a table of content. So Foundation, Foundation and Empire, and Second Foundation. So going, not focusing really well. Yeah. So that's about this book. Then we come to Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere. Neil Gaiman is one of the best things to happen in modern literature, in my opinion. I'll be visiting Jaipur Literary Fest in 2019 to talk to him and get a few autographs from him. So, have you seen this girl? Answers to the name of Doreen. Bites and kicks, run away. Tell us if you saw her, want her back, reward paid. This is so there are quite a few editions of Neverwhere. This is the illustrated edition, and it's illustrated by Chris Riddle. He's a very famous illustrator. I'm pretty sure if you have heard of him, if you are into illustrated books. The lettering is in silver, says Neverwhere, Neil Gaiman, with a cat. When you read Neverwhere, you will understand what that signifies. So there are lots of illustrations in the book. This one, it's all pencil sketched, by the way, and there are side illustrations as well. Riddle is famous for these kinds of illustrations. They are very uniquely done. So this is set in the England underground. Yeah. The book is chock full of illustrations. I love it for that reason. And to say nothing of the story, I mean, the story is wonderful. There are offshoot stories from this as well. For example, there's a illustrated edition of the Marquis Court. Is that the name of the book? I've forgotten the name of the book. So there's an illustrated edition of that as well, which is an offshoot from Neverwhere. Oh, by the way, that was a rat, not a cat. I've read the story so long ago, I've forgotten a few of the points, finer details. So that was Neverwhere. Now we come to Philip Pullman and his Dark Materials. This is a delight to read. It's also by Everyman's Library. Everyman's Library is doing a very good job with these editions that they're bringing out. So this is in gold as well. It says Philip Pullman, his Dark Materials. So his Dark Materials trilogy is a very unique story with theology and science fiction and fantasy mixed in, and it's one of the most complex storylines I've read in a very, very long time. About the cut in the video. So as I was saying, Philip Pullman, I would say, is one of the best. I mean, at least this series is one of the best I've read in a very, very long time, as a mix of different genres of theology and fantasy and science fiction. So it's a combination of 3 stories from Philip Pullman, and they are The Northern Lights, The Subtle Knife, and The Amber Spyglass. Each story is let's say, how big is it? They're pretty big stories as a whole. Like, this is the thickness of the book, as you can see, and it's like each story is about a third of the book. So, and the letters are pretty densely spaced. So it's a pretty heavy read, I would say, but the satisfaction of finishing this book is, I mean, it was one of the best I'd ever got. And I think this is one of the best combination genre stories I've read in a very long time. So that's about it. The Philip Pullman, his Dark Materials trilogy. This is the Everyman's Library edition, as you can see. I'm not really sure it's focusing well, but yeah, there you go. And the next book will be coming to is The Art of Neil Gaiman by Haley Campbell. So I got this book as a second hand, so you can see there's like about a slight depression in the middle, but the book is very nice. As you can see, it's the edges, for example, are like it's like scribbles on the edges, but that's a part of the book. It's like it's not really scribbled on the edges, and that is the man himself, Neil Gaiman. And then this book is gorgeous. Like the whole thing is supposed to be like scribbles. The book opens up like this. There's a paperback edition of this as available as well. You can get it on Amazon, but I'll try to link the hardcover book in the description below. So these are sketches, I would say from Neil Gaiman, from his sketchbook, that is. And then, as you can see, like the whole book is covered in scribbles by Neil Gaiman from his own scribbling book, notepad, whatever you call it. The contents, there are 7 chapters and they are very well titled. Like first one is Preludes, and then it goes on to British Comics, Vertigo Heights. Chapter 4 is a comics miscellany, 5 is Beyond Comics, 6 is Silver Screens, and then Reflections. So as you can see, it has like pictures, and then there's a foreword. This is the foreword. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the foreword. Yeah, it's the introduction. As far as I'm concerned, the entire reason for becoming a writer is not having to get up in the morning. Yeah, that is one of the reasons, I would say as well. And then there's each chapter is very well titled. For example, it starts with the early Neil, and when the author describes it early, I think she means very, very early. And then it goes on to, like, there are very interesting so this is Trident, as you can see, August 1989. So there are anecdotes in between, and then collections of sketches by Neil Gaiman, and then the Gaiman family, I think I saw. So, and then the tragical comedy or comical tragedy of Mr. Punch. Should read this. This is one of the very different kind of books that you can get, I would say, anywhere. And then there are sketches, whole book sketches, whole pages dedicated to Monkey and Tuesday. I'm not very sure if this is a novel because I've not read it. Then there are pages which contain pages from Neil Gaiman's diaries, scanned pages, I would say. These are also, as you can see. So overall, I think this is from the Graveyard Book. The Man Jack Paused on the Landing. I think it's from the Graveyard Book. I'm not very sure about it. So, and then The Ocean at the End of the Lane. This is from the movie, I think, coming summer 2013. Or jacket art for the US edition. No, whatever. Then there is a separate part for picture books. So this contains a lot of material. It's impossible to basically cover for me everything that's in the book because it's extremely content heavy. But as you can see, it's one gorgeous book, and I got it for pretty cheap. I think I got it for around 800 or so. I'm not very sure, but I know some people who had got it for even less during the golden days of I'd say discounts back in like 2-3 years back. And so this is the hardcover, The Art of Neil Gaiman. So you can pause it here and read the blurb at the back if you really want to read it. I'll try to link this book, and I'll try to find the best price for it on Amazon in the description. And so that's about it. So in case you have any comments or suggestions, you're free to write. I really appreciate it if you provide it in the comments, the YouTube comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Happy reading.